Lunchtime, having a smoke here. This is an Irish Seconds. I like that shape. Nice big saddle bit. Just big enough, you know, pretty big for a Peterson, but I have a couple of these and they were cheap. You know, they have flaws in them, which I don't care. I wish they hadn't puttied them, but you know, it's a nice shape. Smokes well. Smoking some HH Vintage Syrian from Mac Barron. Little woodsy smoke. I just, on my little trail here, I kicked off some coyote poop. Right in the middle of the trail. Well, done intentionally, I'm sure. So, I just haven't felt like smoking or making a video for a while. Yeah, a couple important people in my life have cancer, and so they're in different stages of it, but they're definitely dealing with it. So, and thus so am I. And when I had it, I had a little melanoma in the ear, some other little carcinomas. You know, it just is. It's something you deal with. But when it's somebody else that's very dear to you, it's like you have to imagine them not being around, you know, and that is really hard. So I've been getting used to that and just kind of readjusting my reality. I've also been partaking of an 8-week mindfulness meditation class, kind of tagging on. We can do that sometimes when our wellness program at work. It's designed for other people, but staff can tag in if there's room. So there was room. Yay! So that's fun. So I've been doing that every day. The class is actually once a week on Friday afternoons, but I just need that little bit of encouragement to pursue it. It's funny how that is. But once I have that little bit of encouragement from the class, it's like I'm in, you know. And to me, that's the only way we can deal with anxieties and all that other stuff. It's all in your head. So how do you deal with that? Well, I guess there's psychoanalysis, and that's just awareness too. Mindfulness is just a way to become aware that your monkey mind is just out there running through the woods, leaping from tree to tree, having a great time, being crazy, being anxious, being fearful, being whatever. And what it's not doing is noticing what's happening right now. And right now is the only thing that's honestly really happening. Everything else is a fantasy in your head. It's a memory, or it's a future dream, or it's, you know. And amazingly, in Western cultures, we just aren't taught that. You know, we're taught to conform. We are not taught to know ourselves. Just how it is. So it's up to us. So anyway, I haven't felt much like making a video. And you know, I live in the country of Chief Seattle, and his grave is just down the road here. And he's rather famous for making a speech to Governor Stevens in 1854. Well, I always thought that speech was kind of hokum. I think the bones of it are true. He probably said equivalent things, but the language in which it was reprinted as a speech was just so Victorian, flowery, and many versions of it, you know. So you can go online and find all these different versions. And so I just thought it was, you know, not worth my time to adore it the way many people do. But this book, Listening to Our Ancestors, is from the Smithsonian, the National Museum of the American Indian. Great book on all the different, you know, kind of cultural stuff from the various tribal areas. So it's interesting. Very well done. So in the Coast Salish, there's a little excerpt from his speech. Chief Seattle Squamish, from his speech to the territorial governor in 1854. And I will say much adulterated, probably. But interesting. And it just, right now in my present state of mind, it just feels appropriate somehow. Your religion was written on tablets of stone by the iron finger of an angry God, lest you might forget it. The red man could never remember nor comprehend it. Our religion is the traditions of our ancestors, the dreams of our old men, given to them by the Great Spirit, and the visions of our sachems, which are medicine men, I suppose, and is written in the hearts of our people. Your dead cease to love you and the homes of their nativity as soon as they pass the portals of the tomb. They wander far away beyond the stars, are soon forgotten, and never return. Heaven. Our dead never forget the beautiful world that gave them being. They still love its winding rivers, its great mountains, and its sequestered vales, and they ever yearn in tenderest affection for the lonely-hearted living, and often return to visit and comfort them. Every part of this country is sacred to my people. Every hillside, every valley, every plain and grove has been hallowed by some fond memory or some sad experience of my tribe. Even the rocks, which seem to lie dumb as they swelter in the sun along the silent shore in solemn grandeur, thrill with memories of past events connected with the fate of my people. The very dust under your feet responds more lovingly to our footsteps than to yours, because it is the ashes of our ancestors, and our bare feet are conscious of the sympathetic touch, for the soil is rich with the life of our kindred. Just a little different perspective, especially back then. So a rather typical day here, where it's just overcast, gray, vitamin D, I tell you. So I take 15,000 IU of vitamin D3 a day, and you know, it just really improves my mood. You might not be able to tell it from this, but it is true. It is true. And it feels good to smoke. So thanks for sharing the smoke with me.